Hi, welcome back. I'm Martina, physician assistant and an ADHD expert and coach, here to help you with your ADHD symptoms. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month, so today we're going to start a two-part series on anxiety and ADHD. Unfortunately, statistics show that up to 50% of ADHDers have anxiety. That's a lot. So we need to realize, do we have anxiety and what do we do with it if we do? So today we're going to talk about the difference between stress and anxiety, and then we're going to talk about the first 5 actionable steps that you could do today to start managing your anxiety better. So let's jump on in. So the difference between stress and anxiety. Stress usually is provoked or brought on by an outside external force or factor. It's usually short-lived. Usually once the stressor or the event or the trigger resolves, then the stress resolves. This could present in physical findings like increased heart rate, increased respiration, kind of muscle rigidity or tenseness, difficulty with focus, difficulty with productivity, those type of things. The difference between that and anxiety is when it's extended amounts of stress, prolonged, bigger than it should be. So for example, anxiety is excessive fear, worry, or stress for the situation. So maybe, and there can be an external situation causing the anxiety, or we could just wake up feeling that way and there's no cause or trigger. So it's usually unwarranted, or it's bigger than the response that should be elicited, and it lasts longer. It lingers. It doesn't go away. The anxiety doesn't go away if the external factor is the culprit when the external factor resolves. So it lingers and impairs quality of life. We could wake up or just feel like tension or muscle tension, or just kind of unease, unsettled, also continued difficulty focusing, concentration, kind of just like that pit in your stomach where you're just like, okay, there's something wrong, but I can't control it, or it's out of control. Also contributes to the ADHD symptoms like productivity, focus, and it can impair daily functions, so daily productivity and daily life activities anxiety. Up to 50% of ADHDers have anxiety. Wow, that's alarming. So what do we do about that? So if you relate to that when you get stressed or anxious, it kind of compounds, it gets worse than it should, it escalates, it's hard to manage, you can't bring that back down, that level of stress, anxiety back down, it kind of stays around, impairing your quality of life, impairing your joy from the day, then that might be a good sign that that's anxiety. That's exactly what anxiety disorder is characterized as: excessive fear, stress, or worry that often lingers longer than the source, if there's a source, and it impairs our quality of life. So let's get to the 5 things for today to help you with your anxiety now. Okay, so the first technique for today is create a done list, and in addition to just a to-do list, right? We're good at creating to-do lists, whether we do them or not, but we're good at making lists and hopefully good at prioritizing by now what we need to do for today. But regardless, at the end of the day, we should be creating what we've done or what we've accomplished or what we finished list. So that way we're not just hyper fixating and focusing on maybe what we didn't do on our to-do list, and actually acknowledging and affirming ourselves on what we actually did accomplish. This builds consistency, this builds momentum, this builds excitement that, okay, instead of just fixating on I didn't get these top 3 things done, well, actually, I did these other things that are also important, or, you know what, my whole day wasn't a waste. Technique number 2 is, if it's gonna take less than 2 minutes to do it right now. So ADHDers, we often get bogged down in mental load and mental overload. We have too much on our mind. We have too many thoughts and to-do lists ruminating in our mind at all times, kind of like a computer with a lot of screens open. We can't be completely focused on task of what we're doing at hand. So if you come across something and it's going to take less than 2 minutes to do, instead of adding it to your to-do list, or instead of adding it to the mental load and overwhelm of yet one more thing to do, try to do it right then. Check it off the list. That gives you a little dopamine hit, and that gives you that momentum, and then it's one last thing to actually add to the to-do list. Number 3 to cut down on stress and anxiety is to create environment-triggered reminders. So not just trying to keep it all up here, which often exacerbates that stress and anxiety, but have things that you can see. So like a basket by the door in your room or your front door where you can put things in to remind you of things, or color coordinating things. What can you do to have visual cues to remind you of things so that you don't have to keep it all up here, because that's anxiety provoking, but you're not going to forget it. So visual cues is helpful for a lot of people. Number 4 is schedule intentional transition periods. So try to schedule a 10 to 15 minute block between tasks, activities, or meetings in your schedule. If we load our schedule back to back to back, it's no wonder that one thing gets pushed over or one thing gets delayed, and then it pushes everything else back, and that just exacerbates the stress or anxiety for the day. So build in these buffer zones on the front end to give yourself time to take a deep breath, regroup, finish taking notes. If something gets behind, then you have a few extra minutes to finish up on that before you're jumping into the next thing. The last actionable step for today, number 5, is create no decision zones. So try to take away decision making on unimportant things to cut back on the anxiety or the things we have to think about, the mental overload, the mental exhaustion. So for example, plan out ahead of time what you're gonna have for breakfast that week. Plan out ahead of time your workout outfits for that week or your workday clothes for that week. Plan and prep bags, Tuesday soccer practice, so have the soccer practice bag ready to go, so just grab and go. Whatever you can do to prep ahead of time and to take out decision making from the equation will decrease on the stress and the mental overload. So for example, also making less choices, like for lunch, just set yourself up for success and have 2 or 3 choices, or pick something quickly or move on, or just take that decision out by prepping your meals for the week. Those 5 tools or techniques, at least one of them should come in handy to start applying today if you do resonate with having some stress or anxiety, which a lot of us do, unfortunately. So which one can you start incorporating today to kind of slowly bring down that stress anxiety level, to create that better baseline, to be able to go from high stress to baseline quicker and better? Which actionable technique are you going to do today? Love to hear it in the comments below. Thank you.